On this week's Prose Bros podcast, Eddie and I discuss the Will Forte show, The Last Man on Earth. Eddie fantasizes about a post-apocalyptic Humboldt County, and I explain the lyrics to the Rupert Holmes song, Pina Colada. As always, I'm Geoff, reminding you that there are spoilers ahead. So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about The Last Man on Earth. Yeah, man. Who's the main character? What's his name in real life?
Will Forte.
I like that guy.
MacGruber.
Brother Solomon. That's the one I remember him from. I don't know why.
Oh, dude, that movie's bad.
I know, but I still liked it.
It sucks that it's Will Arnett's.
It's a Farrelly Brothers movie, and it's pretty bad.
It is.
Yeah, it's too
really
bad.
Funny people. But
Yeah,
bad.
like the funniest. I'll tell you what, we did a podcast about this before. I think we lost that podcast.
It might be a lost one.
I think it might be one of the ones that we don't have anymore. But I'll tell you what, since that podcast, so much has changed on this show that.
Do you want to go into what The Last Man is?
You want me to give you a breakdown?
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right. So this guy, he is the last man on Earth. Tandy. Actually, Phil Miller. I like the premise of the show because I was like, oh, wow, they're going to do a show about one guy and not have anybody else in the show. And I was like, that's not going to last, or that's really intriguing.
Well, I think it goes like a full year, without seeing...
Yeah, but it's 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And then he meets a girl, and then he fucks up. Not really. He marries her before he realizes, that she's not the only woman on Earth, and the next woman on Earth is pretty, but I don't find her attractive. The blonde in the show, I guess you could say she's classically beautiful compared to Carol, which is the woman he marries. And then more people show up. So it's not the last man on Earth. What the fuck? He's not the last man on Earth. There's 3 other men.
The way I see it, it's like that old saying, not if you were the last man on Earth, meaning... If you're saying that to somebody, that person is a huge piece of shit or a huge turd in this.
That's really good. I never even thought about it that way.
He really is. I want to go into who Tandy is as a character in a little bit.
I have a little bit of a disclaimer. Number 1, I just pulled weeds in the sun, and I'm really loopy, and I'm having a hard time thinking. And then number 2, I powered through all of this in 3 days. So I watched the whole 2 seasons. From episode 1 in season 1 to current, essentially.
The disclaimer may or may not make it to the final edit, right?
Fuck you. Leave that disclaimer in there. I don't want that disclaimer. This is one of your favorite shows, right?
Currently, yeah. It's the show, one of the shows I look forward to week.
You were even Phil Miller for Halloween last year.
I was.
And I didn't get it. I was like, are you Castaway? Are you Tom Cruise?
It would have been better if the beard was a little bit
longer.
Well,
no, it's also because I didn't watch any of the show. After watching the second half of the first season and the second season, I love the show.
So what are your thoughts of, seeing the first season, how that unfolds, and the start of the second? Do you have any initial reactions to, say, any plot points, character changes, anything like that?
I definitely, all right, so... Just going over this, I think I wrote down, I fucking hate every character on this show. And I wrote that down in the first season. And that was because by episode 4, I literally hated everybody. I was like, everybody's too either uptight or hypocritical. By season 2, I went from hating Carol to loving Carol. And I went from hating Phil to kind of rooting for him, Tandy. Because... his redemption, I think, is the most interesting aspect of this. And everybody's reactions to him trying to redeem himself makes everybody a hypocrite. And I really hate Melissa on the show. I think she's a horrible person.
Well, there's a clear change in characters from the first season to the second
season.
The first season, the characters, to me, are really static. And there's not much to them. And what you get, basically, is Tandy being the biggest asshole, the typical last man on Earth you would want to be with. Mm-hmm. But some of these other characters, they don't have much going for them. In the second season, you see a lot more of their flaws.
Yeah.
And you start to realize that while Tandy is a piece of shit, some of these other characters are just as bad.
I think what I came to is that, all right, for the first season, he's just a liar. He's a sociopath. But somehow by the second season, that sociopathic behavior becomes more honest than anything anybody else is doing.
It's a change, though.
Yeah, because everybody else is kind of following societal patterns and trying to live within a society that no longer exists. And he's just trying to get his dick wet, really, in the first season.
Yeah.
By the second season, though, I think what he really wants is companionship.
You see him trying to grow as a person.
But he's bad at it, but he's trying to grow. And when faced with other people, it seems like they're horrible to him.
Well, how many other people are on the show in the second season do you feel are trying to grow as people?
None. I think Phil, the other Phil Miller, kind of expects more from them in the second season. All of a sudden, he's not doing things for the betterment of the group. He's starting to do things and feeling like he needs more credit and feels like he's the only one helping or putting in any effort, not realizing that everybody has something to contribute, even if it's just kind of annoying.
Well, he knows he has to make up for previous wrongs, which is why that one scene where he's in the RV and Carol is kind of talking Tandy up, like, oh, he's a different person, a better person. You know something's going to go wrong. It's inherent in Tandy's personality that he's going to fuck shit up. And then he comes out with the fucking gun, which I thought was... I knew he was going to do something like that, but when it happened, it was amazing.
I think the redemption in season 2 is awesome, and when that happened, it was... this is a cringeworthy show, very much like Curb Your Enthusiasm. You're like, oh my god, I can't believe he's fucking doing this. It's driving me insane. Why the fuck are you ruining everything when you could be fixing it, kind of thing. But even then, like, his intentions were good. And then you see Phil come up with a loaded gun and threaten him with it while he's in the stocks. And you're like, all right, well, that guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And you have Melissa come in and put beers in front of him as a torture device. And that was horrible. And then you have Erica just being generally mean about them showing up. I hated every other character except for Phil and Carol. That's what the switch was. The switch I used in the first season, you're like, oh, well, he's a pathological liar, and she is very annoying. And by the second season, I'm like, she's annoying, but it's awesome, and she's very lovable, and he's trying. And everybody else is evil.
I wouldn't say evil. But...
Possessed by the devil.
Evil? What about Todd? How do you like Todd's character progression?
He reminds me of me.
Dude, I love... So the last episode we just watched was the one with Todd kind of going back and forth between Melissa and Gail.
Yeah.
The awesome thing about that is it's kind of a callback to the first season because that's what Tandy wanted to do the whole time.
The whole time, yeah.
So he's doing that, and you even get the kind of like bizarro Tandy music that's like slowed down in a different octave, which I thought was fucking awesome. Even gets to the point where during that confession with Todd, right after that, Tandy's all, oh, by the way, Todd's super gross. Yeah. And you're all like, as an audience member, fuck you, Tandy. You try to do exactly that.
First of all, gross. But
So, back to that moment, do you think that was just like him trying to one-up Todd as usual, or do you think he really means that and he's grown as a person?
I think that he doesn't think the same way that we do, and because he wasn't able to do what he did, he sees no flaw in it. He's insane. Like, his whole view of the world is wrong, and he's trying to learn a new view, but the thing is that society's gone.
Well, I guess any view going forward from this point could be valid.
Can we talk about one scene real quick?
Yep.
Best cameo ever, Will Ferrell. That was awesome. Just 3 seconds of him having a heart attack. I saw him, and I got so excited. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe Will Ferrell's on this. Like, isn't he making Zoolander 4 or something? And
then Carol kills him.
She kills him right away with a knife.
So I watched the show on Hulu. Watching on Hulu, I guess you can do this on television too, but I get to see all the titles for the shows, and I think that one was like The Boo or Boo, and I'm like, huh, interesting. I like reading the titles beforehand and seeing like what it has to do with the actual show, and I'm kind of thinking about the title the entire time. I was like, well, this is weird. Until that moment, I was like, oh, brilliant. Same thing with the last one we just watched, Fish in the Dish.
All right.
Again, a phrase that Tandy says in regards to his infertility.
Babies and reproduction seem to be a huge issue on the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's the end of the world.
Yeah, right?
I think it's an important motif in the show,
definitely.
and it guides a lot of the plot lines.
Would you want to have a kid in this world? See, that's one of the things I was like thinking about. I was like, no. I'd rather just like live till I died, because it's not going to get any easier. And they haven't really created a world where you can raise kids.
I would feel like almost obligated in like a civic sense to have kids, just because that's it. This is the world. Which, one, I don't really think that's all. That's
I mean, obviously, if there's that many people in Tucson, there's got to be more people in, Europe, Australia.
The fact that we see the Sons of Anarchy dude, and he's like sailing around, and he runs into Mike Miller.
Mike Miller being Phil Miller's brother in space.
Yeah.
Right.
Phil Tandy Miller.
Phil Tandy Miller.
The fact that you see him leads me to believe that there are more people. They're just not finding everybody else.
Yeah.
What are the chances are now that, Phil Tandy put all these Alive in Tucson signs, and nobody's in Tucson anymore.
Yeah.
They all left.
And they didn't leave a note or anything.
I mean, there's a note, but it's a very small note in one house.
Yeah. Which is like video game quality as far as notes go.
Which, a little spoiler for you, that's how Mike Miller finds them. He finds that the house is important to Tandy Miller. It was some like arena ball player he stalked when he was when he was younger. He finds that house, sees the note, and then goes to Malibu.
All right.
In the episode we didn't watch, there's one more that is currently out. You get a little more backstory of who Phil Tandy Miller is.
All right. And the fact that he obviously doesn't care about reproduction, because the first thing he does is hit his brother in the nuts. Ay.
What'd you think of that scene?
That was really, really funny and unexpected. Like, I think that's the biggest thing about this show is everywhere I thought it was going to go, it didn't go. Like the stuff with Mike Miller in space, wasn't really expecting that. Wasn't expecting more people to show up. Wasn't expecting, like, love triangles. It was good. It was really good. It really throws you in the wrong direction.
So let me ask you about Mike Miller being punched in the dick upon seeing him. Is this Tandy acting out because of his infertility problem? Because they do make that mention of punching each other in the junk as a game early on, which I assume his brother was involved in. Is he doing that, or do you think it's more...
Well, I don't know what... All right, so he tackles him and goes, I can't believe you showed your face around here. So I don't know what he did to, I guess, be cast off? Or is that just Tandy being pissed off because his junk don't work no more?
They kind of give you a reason why that has to do with an ex-girlfriend. But I always wonder with Tandy if he's not dealing with certain emotions. And when things like this happen, when he realizes he's infertile, which is a huge blow to both him and Carol, is he just unconsciously taking it out on his brother and using whatever X happened as an excuse? Is he that shallow, or is he just repressed?
I think he's probably that shallow.
I mean, what's great, I think you can see it either way.
Yeah, you can make an argument for anything. I think I asked you this on the first podcast, but where would you go if it was the end of the world? So Tandy goes to the White House, he fucks everything up. He just likes to destroy things, it seems.
Yeah.
But what would you do?
He's kind of like a caveman in that respect.
Yeah, just kind of like the dun 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 dun, boom 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 boom.
I like that your pounding on the desk was thematic.
Yeah.
This time around, it wasn't just noise for the sake of noise.
No, there's actually.
Where would I go? I think I would definitely go to the White House, and I think I would fuck some shit up there.
Right on. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I would also love to go to museums where they don't let me go certain places. Like, this is Mark Twain's house, but you're not allowed to go upstairs. I'd be like, I'm going upstairs. I can go check this out. I would also go to Disneyland.
I think I'd go a lot of places, but I'd still just end up going home. What am I going to do once I see everything I want to see? Can I ask you this?
Mm-hmm.
Phil Stacy Miller, as we found out last episode, he's the only person who's actually trying to make this world better and livable. Gail, she just wants to get fucked up. I loved that sight gag where she opens a bottle of wine, there's a wine glass, and she grabs the big gulp cup and pours the entire thing in there.
Yeah.
So she pretty much just wants to get laid and just get drunk constantly. No one's advancing the world. I guess you could say Carol.
Maybe like she doesn't want to just because of the fact that maybe she's already gone through her reproductive phase in life and she can no longer have babies. It seems like every woman on this show is kind of wanting kids at this point. Oh, Erica's already pregnant. Carol wants kids. Melissa seems to want kids now.
Well, have they said that she wants kids?
She said she didn't at one point, but it seems like with all the sex going on...
Women can't just want sex, Eddie?
No, it's very true.
That is interesting you bring that up because there is a lot of sex going on in the show. Something is going to happen. It's a loaded gun.
Yeah. It just seems like a lot of it has to do with having a baby. They're not like having crazy orgies or anything like that. They're not having like, I didn't see any condoms on the show. Except for the time Carol did. Carol had sex with Phil, and they used a condom. That was for fun, right? But they didn't reference that for anybody else.
That's interesting.
Because even Carol says, you don't have sex for fun? And yeah, of course.
I felt it was more about companionship and feeling something than it was about having babies. At least for Gail and Melissa.
Right on. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you're right. Especially Gail, I think. I love Jason Sudeikis. I'm really happy he's on the show. I think he's hilarious.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah, man. I think he's going to be a great part of the show. I think he's probably going to be one of the best parts of the show.
I hope he sticks around.
Yeah, me too. I don't want him to die. And that's another thing I like about the show is everybody's kind of, on the chopping block. Nobody's really safe. I like that about every show.
Except The Walking Dead.
Well, see, that's the thing. Nobody's really on the chopping block anymore on The Walking Dead. At least nobody that you care about. They'll bring in new characters just to kill them. And I don't want to watch a show where I know, like, oh, there's a new character. Oh, he's going to be in it for 3 episodes. They're going to build him up. They're going to have a character. An episode where the character is built up and done really well, and then kill him at the end.
You know what's funny about The Walking Dead?
Nothing.
When I watch it with Jen, every time she sees a character, she's like, that character has stupid hair. I was like, it's pulled directly from the comic. Anytime you see a character with a stupid fucking look.
The mullet.
The mullet. She didn't like the guy with the kind of weird dreads and was pulled back.
Oh,
anything that doesn't feel like it belongs naturally, that's a look. And they're going for that look. And Jen pretty much called every single one of those people. She knew which one. She's like, this one, and this one all don't look like it would happen
She's pretty
naturally.
damn good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like the progression of the show. I'm excited to see where season 3 goes, or I guess the rest of season 2. Did they expand it to 24 episodes or something? How many episodes are in the season?
I'm not sure.
Because the first season's, 12?
I think 12 or 13, something like that.
I think it's 13, and then this season just got to 14. Are they just going to... I don't know. But I'm excited to see where they're going with it. I would like to see them maybe get on a boat. What do you think?
I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat. I'm on a motherfucking boat.
I wouldn't.
No?
Because... So this isn't like the genre of post-apocalyptic world. That seems like the thing you would do. I don't want to see that. Fear the Walking Dead just did that. Everybody
really?
goes on a boat and sails off. That's what you would do. I don't want to see these repeat storylines from these shows.
I have no interest in watching Fear the Walking Dead at all.
It has good moments. It has bad moments. Some of the good moments are that the zombies actually seem scary, which in The Walking Dead, I feel like they're not because everybody's so much of a superhero in that show.
Yeah. I guess at that point you would weed out all the weak people too, though. Can I tell you my theory for this show and what I think would be the perfect ending, and one of the only times I would enjoy this?
Yeah.
I really, really wish that this is all a fever dream that Phil Miller's having, and in actuality, he's just toting around all the balls, and each ball is named a different character that he's actually a part of.
So he still is the last man on Earth. And Gail and Melissa and Todd, they're all
different
balls.
kinds of balls.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
That'd be awesome. And it'd be the only time, because that's some Dallas, like, he woke up from a dream kind of shit.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Yeah, right?
Is it the first or second episode where he meets Carol? He kind of does have that fever dream where he imagines this like beautiful woman and she's saying certain things to him, and then he comes to. What if at that moment that was all just still part of the fever dream and he's still out there in Tucson?
Yeah, just talking to balls in a bar, and it's gone way past everything. He's starving now. Yeah, I think that would be a fun ending.
That's interesting. I wouldn't like it too much.
If they go 5 seasons on this and then do it, I'd be pissed. But if they get canceled at the end of this season, and they did that, I would not be mad.
I think that would be funny, but also a cop out. Like you said,
it's that bullshit.
Going back to what you said,
usually a bad thing.
Going back to what you said about writing in general, it's like if they can write it well, I'm fine with anything.
Yeah,
I think
right.
that's
Well,
that's all you, man. I'm quoting you, motherfucker.
I can say smart things and then forget them.
Can I get back to the ball?
Yeah, the balls.
Whole balls thing.
Yeah, let's go back to the balls. Let's talk about some balls.
Isn't it interesting that the balls keep coming around? And did they do that on purpose? So his balls are his friends, right? And this last episode, his balls are causing the problem between him and Carol because he's not fertile. So there's this whole like motif of balls in this show that is like
balls on balls.
Kind of, yeah. It's just there's a lot of balls.
Yeah.
And is that like, I mean, again, I'm kind of reaching here, but is that like, oh, his balls are his friend? Well, his balls as reproductive organs are pulling him away and kind of creating distance between him and his wife. One thing I love about this show, even stuff that may not necessarily be there, you can make this case for that. And for a comedy to do that, I think is amazing. It's a testament to the writing. Carol, Kristen Shaw, you were saying?
Oh, I was just going to mention how much I love her and everything she does. She was great on The Daily Show, Flight of the Conchords. I don't think she's ugly. Is that weird? I kind of dig the Jew thing.
She has an interesting look.
Yeah. I think she's kind of good looking. I think she's more good looking than Erica on the show. Melissa,
I disagree, but
I guess Melissa is like traditionally like super hot, but something I guess because of the way she acts on the show, I find her very unattractive. Like, I don't know why. Just something about her that I really don't like.
Is it her acting or
no, the character itself? Obviously, the acting's great because I couldn't hate somebody if they were doing a bad job acting.
I think her character is coming along.
I don't think
I kind of like her as you kind of touched on it right now, but she comes in, she is very classically beautiful.
Yeah.
So when you see Todd come in and he's like the only other dude than Tandy, it's like, oh, I can't believe this guy is with this girl. It's only because Tandy's the only other person.
Yeah.
So in this season, you start to see Melissa be really desperate for the affection of Todd, which in a not Last Man on Earth scenario, you wouldn't see that, where this like traditionally, classically beautiful woman is like all after Todd, who's balding, overweight. She's a nice guy, but you wouldn't see that. So I like that dynamic of her kind of pining after him. I'd like to see where it goes, and particularly where it goes with the whole Gail, Melissa, and Todd thing.
I agree, yeah.
I started to really like Todd's character.
Todd's character
growth.
got more fun, because he was really kind of bland in the first season. And now it's fun to watch him, I guess, get everything he ever wanted, and then get kind of overwhelmed by it.
Or everything Tandy ever wanted.
Yeah, everything Tandy ever wanted. But, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he did have sex every single time. It's not like he was like, oh, no, I can't do this. He did act like a piece of shit, you know? Like, he did have sex with every single woman there.
Well, not every single one, but he did, within the last 2 episodes we watched, manage to kiss every female on the show.
Yeah. It has sex with 2 of them, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and even Phil didn't do that. I love that line also when Phil is letting them shower, and he's like, he took all of them! He took all the women! I thought that was funny. Kind of like a Genghis Khan kind of thing.
I got a question. Several Tandy questions, actually. Is Tandy good at anything?
Shoot.
Because we see him
He's not good at lying.
fail constantly. Yeah.
He's not good at anything. I guess, you know what? With his brother back, maybe we'll find something he's good at. So far, no. I mean, he's really good with duct tape.
He's not. He couldn't
He's
keep
not.
that.
He couldn't
He
even-
would have been better with masking tape.
Oh, yeah. He should have used masking tape.
So with his brother in this last episode, this isn't too much of a spoiler for you, but you find more about shit he's bad at.
All right.
You don't really find these hidden...
And meanwhile, his brother's an astronaut.
Yeah.
Well, he's just a fuck-up, right? I mean, he's bad at everything.
I don't think they say this in the show. I think I got this off of IMDb, but Phil Tandy Miller worked at a bank. He was a bank teller.
All right.
Before all this.
Okay, cool. Man, I would like to see, like, flashbacks of that. That'd be fun. Do you think they're going to add more? They're obviously going to add more people to the cast, right? That's why they keep on thinning people out.
I don't know if it's why they're thinning people out, but I could definitely see it.
Yeah, I mean, going to need more plot points to develop.
I think it
using
needs
people.
a change of setting, personally.
I do too. And
How do you feel about them going from Tucson to Malibu?
It just seems like there was like the opposite of Tucson. Because when I think of Tucson, ew, I'm sorry, I hate Tucson.
I think I'd like to see them in somewhere shittier, personally.
Really?
But I could see them being in Malibu.
What's worse than Tucson? Like Albuquerque?
I don't know. No, because there's stuff in. I don't know
Juarez?
what's.
Do you
I don't
want
know
to see
what's
him, go down to Mexico, live in
No.
Little Pueblo?
something different. I don't know if this starts to get too dark, but in part of these post-apocalyptic shows, they never really touch on too much. Is the North, the winter. I don't want them to get all revenant.
Oh, right.
But it makes things tougher.
It's true.
But
That's
why
really
would you
true.
go there if you didn't have to?
You know where I would go, Jeffrey, right?
Nope.
Humboldt County.
Would you?
Yeah.
What do you do in Humboldt County?
You act humble.
Oh, Humble or Humboldt?
Humboldt.
Okay, so you're just walking around being Humboldt?
And I'm being humble in Humboldt County. You get it?
Yeah, it's.
I'm getting super high. That's what I mean by humble. That was a bad joke.
Do you think all the weed would have dried up? Like at that point, though?
Well, I would imagine that it'd be seasons, just like it would start growing naturally, right?
I don't know.
I mean, if you don't culture it, you might have some problems in like curing it or something. But I would imagine that the weed would just continue to keep growing.
Okay.
And would be out of control at this point. Hard to hide, but who are you hiding it from?
Nobody.
I'm hiding it from myself. So I can find joints everywhere and pick them up and be like, yeah, score. They
come pre-rolled.
Yeah. That's how they grow on trees, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like bananas.
It's just like Humboldt County is a lot like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Like everything's a joint, right? Like,
can you sing me that song?
Which song?
The Willy Wonka one.
Willy Wonka, that one from the remake?
I was more thinking like, if you wish, blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
What is it? If you smoke, no.
You had it. You had it right there. And it just...
If you go to a place full of marijuana, then you can find a tree that grows nothing but joints. I got nothing. That was pretty bad.
No, it was okay.
It was okay.
So the tone of the show. What do you think about that?
It's pretty cool. Like, you mentioned this to me off air, that for an apocalypse story, this is probably the only one that is a comedy.
It's very lighthearted.
Yeah, I like that about it a lot. There's even there's grief and there's grieving, but it right away black comedy comes out. Like Phil will start joking about the fact that the other Phil's dead.
But it's
Tandy Phil will joke about Phil Stacy Phil dying.
But it's not as bad as, have you seen? I actually like this show. Have you seen You, Me, and the Apocalypse?
I haven't.
It's definitely worth watching. And while it is a comedy, I wouldn't classify that as a drama. It is a lot darker. Mm-hmm. And I like that Last Man keeps it pretty light for the most part. And I think they're able to do so with the characters.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Having these characters that are shitty people and not progressing, kind of not moving the world forward, their new world forward, and also not really caring about it. It's just, this is what's happening. It's kind of like an everyman version of The Last Man.
Yeah.
These other shows like You, Me, and the Apocalypse, or even Walking Dead would be one. There's these people, and they have all these trials, and bad shit happens to them, and they get hard because of it. And this one, they're basically doing what you, me, anyone else would do, where it's like, hey, let's get fucked up. We may not know how to, farm or, anything like that, but they're just still living. They can't stop living.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think it's a better representation of what would happen. Walking Dead has obviously, I think, gone astray. And I also don't think that many people would stay evil for as long. I think that at this point, we would have tried to work together as a people and, live and sustain life. The way we have, there was a medieval period where we learned how to farm and shit went from really bad to better. And for some reason on this show, everything just stays fucking horrible and everybody stays a murderer forever.
It makes the assumption that only the hard survive in that world and that people in general are horrible people. Whereas this show, it kind of makes it seem that people are just
useless,
lazy. Yeah.
And you know what? It's a tone that you can only keep in a TV show. I think that 2 movies came out around the same time. No, not Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. Yeah, Seeking a Friend for the End of the World with Steve Carell. Mm-hmm. That was supposed to be like a dark comedy, and that fell flat on its face because they made it too dramatic, and they didn't have enough time to explore the characters and create really lovable, funny characters. It was too quick. It just kind of forced them into this kind of situation.
Well, with that movie, part of the thing with the tone is that people cared about other people. Whereas in this one, everybody's dead, and we meet these characters either at a point in their lives where they don't care about the deceased, or maybe they never cared.
Yeah, right? And what's up with everybody's last name being Miller?
I mean, it is a popular...
Yeah, and also Jason Sudeikis was in a movie called We Are the Millers.
I mean, if you're a white person, probably your name is going to be Miller.
It's like, it's not the same thing in Mexico. It's not like the Gonzaleses have fucking free reign on TV.
Are there Mexicans on Last Man?
No.
Is Todd
Super
a Mexican?
racist. I don't know. Maybe he looks Latin. His hair. You know where he could play? What character he could play? The big fat guy from Popeye.
Bluto?
It's all like, I'll give you. No. The guy's like, I'll give you $3 tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Tuesday for a hamburger.
What is his
today.
name?
I don't know. Blimpy?
Sounds close.
Puto?
Puto.
Ese cabrón güey metiche? No? No. He's a cokehead.
So something that stood out to me a lot in the show was the music. And I love not only the score, but the soundtrack. Whenever they use a song, I fucking love it.
I think that's true.
It might be because it's kind of like their music is my jam. They're playing like the Kinks. They're playing Lou Reed. They're playing David Bowie, Willie Nelson.
I think they also use it well. I don't think that they're misusing it. Or
it's not any of that
shoving it in there.
That James Gunn trickery you spoke of.
Crazy tricking me to think that a movie with a talking squirrel can be good.
Fuck that raccoon.
Yeah, fuck that raccoon, man. That squirrel can eat a dick. I actually don't know if the Guardians of the Galaxy is bad without, but it was just the fact that you can't play all the best songs ever made in one movie. You know what I mean? It was just like fucking 12 solid classics.
But you can find 12 solid songs and put them in a movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Or a show. There's not like a super finite amount of good songs. There are, clearly, but it's not like there's like, oh, there's only 30 fucking good songs in the world and we used them all in this movie.
I feel like that happened. I feel like that's true. Like they took the best 30 songs and put them all in this one movie.
But a good movie will make you like a song more. Like that movie, I never really listened to that If You Like Pina Colada song.
Oh, dude, you know what's really funny is that I had a pool. Remember my pool? Yeah, that blow-up pool?
What happened to
that? It's over there just in a ball on the side of my backyard. But the whole reasoning behind the pool was because I wanted to be in a pool drinking a pina colada. And so I got a blender. I bought a blender, and we made pina coladas, and we sat in the pool, and the whole time I was just singing that song.
Have you like really listened to the words of that song? It's an awful song.
Is it about getting drunk and having sex?
In a way, it's about this guy wanting to cheat on his wife. So he kind of calls up this girl. It's almost like the equivalent today of like a Craigslist ad. So he does that, finds an apartment, and when he gets there, he realizes like, oh, hey, it's my wife who showed up.
Oh, wow. So
and it's this very lighthearted song about like a failing fucking relationship.
Oh, wow.
It is crazy.
Huh. Wow, I'm really glad that music has like devolved into like Diplo, where there's just not even words anymore. Because I never even knew that shitty song. It's not that great of a song. It's a good song, but it gets catchy. But it had a story behind it.
Yeah, it's fucking intense,
yeah,
dude.
Man.
So where does this show go from here?
I already told you. I hope they get on a boat.
That's it? Just boat and that's it?
And then they play that song. I'm on a boat. I'm on a boat. And then Andy what's his name?
Samberg?
Andy Samberg comes out. Adam Sandler's with him because they're butt buddies now. And they start rapping that song, and that's where it ends.
But do you think, all right, so seriously, like where?
No, I have no idea. I really don't know at this point. And I think they do a really good job in masking where they're going to go with the stuff that they do. I really hope that they keep on kind of throwing left curve ball. Is that a thing?
A curveball. I don't know about a left curveball.
Well, it's a left-handed curveball.
Okay.
All right. I hope they keep on throwing that because I really did not expect the whole space thing to be a thing.
I think they should do a little more with Carol. I'd like them to. I know they wanted to make some of these other characters move up to the forefront. Carol, towards the end of the season, kind of played a backseat to some of these other characters. I wouldn't say she's underused because now it's kind of, they're trying to make it an ensemble instead of like just Tandy and Carol, the Tandy and Carol show.
I like her the most. I think that she's one of the best parts of the show. She can make me cringe with her annoyingness, and that's a really good trait. You know what I mean?
The masturbation room she made Tandy.
That was wow.
I love her artwork.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking creepy.
Yeah. And I like how she ruins art, like famous art pieces, by putting like dogs in them and little ducks on their shoulders.
Hey, better off than Tandy, who's just like hitting racquetballs through them.
Yeah, what the fuck? I think that's pretty funny that he just likes to destroy things. It seems like he's almost stuck in time, or like stuck at a certain age, maybe like 14. Do you think he's gonna at some point become like, I don't know, good at something?
I don't know. I don't think you can have him do that in this show, because part of watching the show and being the last man, that kind of Tandy turd mentality, you want him to do better, but he's always going to fuck something up. And he's also fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Like, would you want to be around that type of dude? Like,
I think I'd rather be around him than Phil, the other Phil Stacy Miller.
I'd be fine being around Phil, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna hitch my my wagon to this pony, because he seems like he's good at shit, and then he dies.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But hanging
out wise, I would rather break stuff and hang out in a margarita pool than fix stuff.
Well, yeah, if it weren't the end of the world. But
yeah.
So are you going to be like, I guess, everyone else on the show and just kind of get fucked up and who cares? Or do you want to
on this show, I'm already dead.
You're dead?
I either died of the virus or I died drinking myself to death or something. I would have totally partied. What would you have done? Or what would you do on the show? Would you try to keep living?
Yeah, why? I mean, what's the alternative?
Party till you die. Go out like a champion.
Why, though?
I don't know. Because I just think farming would be boring.
Probably, but
Ugh.
You might be good at it.
Probably.
You look like a good avocado farmer.
Fuck. Oh, man. What would I want to farm? If I was a farmer, I'd definitely farm pot.
Weed farmer.
There you go. All right, you got me. And then just make me do like a row of tomatoes or something, and we're good.
Fuck yeah, I win.
Yeah, I become a farmer.
I win this podcast.
You win. You win every podcast.
Except when they're bad.
Yeah, except when they're really, really bad.
Then everyone loses. On this week's Prose Bros podcast, we did the TV show The Last Man on Earth. And other than finding out Eddie would be a pot farmer in another life, we have news. Our website, prosebros.libsyn.com, is now up, and you can listen to episodes, download them, or contact us there. Also, we are still reminding everyone to check out Ernest Cline's novel, Ready Player One, which we will be doing on this podcast at a later date. And if you've listened this far, you might as well stay to the end to hear our thoughts on partying in the world of social media. Well, I'm Geoff, speaking for Eddie Cruz. Till next time.
I think this is a funny conversation. We should talk about how you think Snapchat is all about dick pics.
Isn't it, though? Like,
No.
Isn't it like you send people your dick
Not anymore.
or nudie pics, and then it disappears forever?
I think at one point, that's what it was. What it is now is kind of like a one-shot deal, and you can only show it to your friends. I think the coolest thing about Snapchat is actually the major cool thing about it is that only your friends can see your stuff. Whereas if somebody looks at my Facebook, I can allow them to see stuff or not. And it also is fleeting, so it's like, today I did this, but tomorrow it will be gone.
And we had this whole conversation about, like, privacy and growing up in this age, and you know how you're...
Oh, they still save everything.
Yeah, I mean, screenshot shit, right?
I mean, no, essentially, the Snapchat keeps everything you've ever done. It's just a matter that nobody can look it up.
Dude, we were having this conversation earlier about... So, remember going to parties, being 21. Think of all the stupid shit you did, and now think about it if there were cameras readily available.
Oh, that'd be horrible. I'd be the worst person in the world.
Everybody would be.
Yeah.
It's fucking shitty.
Yeah, I've done some horrible, horrible, horrible things. No rape or murder, but everything else.